Miranda Leavold, also known as Stacy X, with her other notable alias being Ripcord, is a powerful mutant with the ability to secrete pheromones that can affect the behavior and emotions of those around her. She is a fiercely independent and confident woman who has always used her powers to fight for what she believes in. As a member of the X-Men, Stacy is fiercely loyal to her team and is always ready to put herself in harm's way to protect them. Being a skilled fighter, she has mastered the use of her powers to seduce and manipulate her enemies. Despite her tough exterior, Stacy has a soft spot for her fellow mutants and is always willing to lend a helping hand to those in need. This female mutant is fiercely intelligent and has a strong sense between right and wrong. She is not afraid to speak her mind, even if it means going against the wishes of her superiors. Let us explore more about the character, her first appearance alongside the X-Men, and other storylines involving her. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Her first comic book appearance announced her presence in an action-packed story arc. As the plot is set in motion, we see Archangel perform his part as the chairman of Worthington Industries during a meeting. He wanted to confront the board and exclaimed how he wanted an explanation from the board of directors as to why a facility known as the X Ranch was receiving such a big chunk of the company's funding. Additionally, he wishes to contribute money to several initiatives Professor Xavier launched to help mutants. After a barrage of useless information, Archangel finally discovers that his subordinates have been spending money at the X Ranch because the location is supposed to be a mutant brothel, despite some board members' attempts to dismiss the showdown. Archangel dismisses all of the members present, and after speaking with Nightcrawler, they decide that more research into the X Ranch is warranted. When they're done, Archangel takes off his shirt and jacket and soars across the night sky. A tense Mr. Favreau rides in a limousine to the X Ranch in Nevada. Madame Drake, the house mother, welcomes him. During their initial interaction, Madame Drake assures Mr. Favreau that he has nothing to worry about, intending to reduce some of his anxiety and doubt about the place. She guides him upward to a room where Bete, one of the courtesans, is located. Mr. Favreau is then startled when he notices Bete's severe obesity. Since he was not expecting this at all, he was astounded. Bete informs him that there will be no touching, but uses her mutant abilities to discover his personal needs so they may have some time together. Nightcrawler, outraged, listens in on Bete and Mr. Favreau's conversation from a distance. He grants permission for the X-Men to send in their spy and claims that the audio sensors are working correctly. Later that evening, Iceman rides in a limousine to the X Ranch. Under the guise of Mr. Freeze, he enters the brothel and Madame Drake welcomes him. Under the guise of his new cover, Iceman explains to Madame Drake that he is employed by a significant record company and that an influential compatriot had advised him to visit the X Ranch. Mr. Favreau arrives downstairs at the very moment from his session with Bete, confused and stuttering. He offers Madame Drake a certain amount of money before going. And as he leaves, he ponders how Bete was able to seduce him in such an intricate way. Witnessing this exchange, Iceman comments to Madame Drake that Mr. Favreau appeared to be quite content, and she replies that everyone who visits the X Ranch is satisfied. She reveals that Mr. Favreau and other wealthy clients are essential to the X Ranch's continued existence since they don't hesitate to breach social taboos like paying mutants in return for sexual favors. Madame Drake reassures Iceman that everything is secure since staff can defend themselves and prostitution is permitted in Nevada when he expresses concern that an overtly mutant brothel may draw lethal attention. She then guides Iceman to the girl that his appointment is with so that she can tend to his needs. Inside, Iceman encounters Stacy, a lady in minimal clothing with orange snake-like skin and scales instead of regular flesh. She claims desire has a flavor similar to licorice. Iceman steps outside to the balcony to get fresh air. Stacy pursues him. She starts to touch him while she speaks incoherently into his ear about hormonal chemistry and body fluids that get secreted depending on different emotions. Stacy claims that she can influence other people's responses because of the pheromones that her body produces. When Iceman starts to feel a bit different and not under control, he passes out and becomes helpless. Archangel promptly comes to save his fellow X-Men Iceman and subdues Stacy as she tries to defeat Archangel with her higher than average combat abilities, much to his surprise. Pinning her to the ground, Archangel ensures that he does not let her touch him, which would otherwise allow her to use her powers on him as well. Through the use of their communications network, Nightcrawler links with Archangel and alerts him that humans from the Church of Humanity are beaming into the X Ranch main lobby. Madame Drake tries to stop them with her fire-breathing ability, but the Church of Humanity members teleport inside the premises and murder her. They contend that the brothel must be destroyed, and the mutants within must be punished by the fires of mankind for the perverted sins that they have committed. The humans enter enter the X Ranch with high-tech weapons while throwing bombs and shooting stray lasers, murdering everyone they come across, even the human customers. Knowing they'll have to battle to escape, Archangel releases Stacy and helps Iceman get up. Together, the three of them defeat their adversaries, and Nightcrawler scoops them up in an X-Wing as the X-Ranch starts burning due to the plethora of bombs thrown at it. Stacy greets Nightcrawler, the pilot, inside and tells him to call her Stacy X once everyone has boarded the aircraft. Since the X-Men were unable to stop the intruders from the Church of Humanity before killing all her 5 co-workers, Stacy mockingly commends them for their wildly successful rescue effort. When she notices Chamber looking directly at her, she confronts and shouts at him. She is reassured that the X-Men won't overlook the Church of Humanity and its atrocities by Nightcrawler. Stacy receives a warning from Archangel not to make unauthorized use of her powers on any X-Men while she is among them. X-Ranch is engulfed in flames and the whole structure burns down as they go back east in the X-Wing together. Some of her other memorable story arcs worth checking out. Before her mutant abilities were noticeable, Miranda, who grew up in a trailer park in Texas, was a popular student in her school. She managed to sustain her survival through the trade of streetwalking after escaping from her hostile family, since she possessed 0 professional qualifications and thus no resources to maintain herself. She made use of her mutant talents, initially during her life in the slums and then when the X-Ranch's Madame Drake discovered her. After that followed the previously mentioned storyline where Miranda worked as a courtesan at the X-Ranch under the alias Stacy. She was saved from the lethal intrusion from the people of the Church of Humanity by the X-Men, and she soon joined the X-Men on their missions because she possessed commendable fighting capabilities and could be a healthy addition to the team. Stacy had to deal with the members of the Church of Humanity who wanted to kill her as soon as possible. A church member unintentionally transferred Stacy to their cathedral headquarters while she was on one of her first assignments. For the church and its commander, the Supreme Pontiff could bring her any harm, the X-Men came and saved her. She departed the crew after a few missions and left Archangel a video of her leaping rope while completely exposed as memorabilia. Due to the events of the M-Day, Stacy X lost her mutant abilities and resorted to her trade of streetwalking for mere survival. She was highly despondent during this time since she was losing her abilities and her life did a complete 360, bringing her back to square one. Later, she joined Night Thrasher's most recent iteration of the New Warriors, who gave her a costume with integrated tentacles that were most likely composed of steel or a more uncompromising metal. Either way, capable of raining her enemies with tons of damage. She abandoned her previous identity at this point and adopted the name Ripcord. The New Warriors squad in this newly orchestrated incarnation had an anti-establishment stance. They performed illegal actions since they did not follow the initiative's rules. The New Warriors logo they left behind served as their calling card when they captured costume crooks. Together, they defeated certain antagonistic characters such as the Grey Gargoyle, Anaconda, and the Rhino, never missing an opportunity to criticize Tony Stark and the initiative in front of the public. Ripcord engaged in combat with the likes of the Machine Smith and the Zodiac while she was a member of the New Warriors too. She was reportedly slain when she came into contact with the Cape Killers of S.H.I.E.L.D. Miranda finally reappeared alive despite this. She started using cosmetics to mimic her former scaly look to help her cope with losing her abilities. Stacy X went to the inaugural gathering of Mindfulness of Mutant Appearances, a support group founded by Nightcrawler and Domino for the mutants that were incapable of masquerading as ordinary people in search of purpose to live. Briquette, another participant in the meeting, objected to the appearance of the seemingly ordinary Stacy X, thus Stacy disclosed her ongoing battle with depression and her various coping mechanisms. As the conference concluded, Briquette made amends and offered Stacy X a warm embrace as a sign of struggling through similar difficulties and solidarity. With nowhere else to go, Stacy had to resort to her profession as a courtesan again, and this time she chose to get involved with the clubs and nightlife scenes of the area. While working as a courtesan, she was spotted working the Ultimate Nullifier in a trio with singing sensation Sugar Cane and her longtime comrade Chambers' ex-girlfriend. The trio appeared to be merely sexually excited by Stacy's pheromone-emitting talents. When Magneto, an X-Men now, chastised Stacy for her depiction of mutants during their final days, the meeting suddenly stopped. Stacy X and Sugar Cane were protected by the Ultimate Nullifier, who also helped them escape. In Krakoa, a country for mutants exclusively, Stacy X reunited with her family and reclaimed her powers. She set up shop in the Bower, a gathering spot for Krakoans who did not feel like they belonged and a place they could let off some steam. She also maintained a daycare for mutant infants that had been neglected or left behind. What makes her so powerful? Stacy X is a mutant with the ability to secrete pheromones that can manipulate the behavior of others. Her powers make her a formidable opponent in combat, as she could use her pheromones to influence her opponent's actions and control their behavior. She could also use her regenerative abilities to quickly heal from injuries, making her difficult to defeat as it adds to her levels of endurance. In addition, Stacy X is a skilled fighter and has been trained in various martial arts and combat techniques, further enhancing her combat capabilities. Her powers of controlling pheromones allow her to emit her desired pheromones in the area surrounding her or in direct contact with her target, which she then uses to control the behavior or physiology of the person. In order to elicit orgasms, vomiting, adrenaline surges, and other bodily processes in people, she produces and releases her unique pheromones during their skin-to-skin contact. She was even able to blast her pheromones into the air after recovering her abilities, allowing her to affect individuals without coming into touch with them. Stacy's scaly, snake-like skin offered her an unpredictable level of resilience. Her allies experienced adrenaline surges when she healed people by hastening their recovery times and boosting their stamina so they wouldn't get fatigued quickly. Despite being defeated by Wolverine, Stacy is a skilled fighter who can compete with him in physical hand-to-hand combat. This capability of hers, however, seems to be learned over time through the hardships that she has faced in life rather than it being a mutant trait. During her time with the Reformed New Warriors under the alias of Ripcord, Stacy was given a unique suit of armor which contains metallic tentacles that may be used as weaponry and are extendable, incredibly powerful, and emerge via her forearms. She also has a slide suit, frog springing leg adjustments, and web shooters similar to Spider-Man's. Overall, Stacy X's combination of pheromone manipulation and regenerative powers, along with her combat training, make her a powerful mutant with a wide range of abilities with fairly straightforward but effective battle tactics. Conclusion. To conclude, Stacy X is a complex and multifaceted character who's experienced a range of emotions and challenges throughout her journey. Her charming character is a captivatingly intriguing addition to the X-Men universe. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks, she has consistently proven to be a valuable asset to the team, using her powers to defend and protect others. Facing adversity and difficult choices all her life, she has consistently demonstrated strength, resilience, and a desire to improve her circumstances. She is a dynamic and relatable character whose story is sure to resonate with audiences and leave a lasting impact. Ultimately, Stacy X's story is one of hope and perseverance, showing that it is possible to overcome adversity and find a place where you belong. Stacy X was initially supposed to appear in an X-Men live-action movie, but the idea was eventually changed. Actress Dania Ramirez and Omaira Mata auditioned for Stacy's role before their characters were altered to Callisto and Arclight, respectively. Seeing a live-action version of Stacy X on screen would have been great. Her powers and role as a mutant escort would have added a unique and exciting dynamic to the X-Men universe. It would also have been interesting to see how the character would have interacted with the other mutants and how her powers would have been portrayed on the screen. Unfortunately, we never got to see this version of Stacy X on screen, but it's always possible that she could appear in a future X-Men movie or TV show. In the meantime, fans of the character can enjoy her appearances in the comics and animated series. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.